Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Austin, Michael, and I are back for more Survivor 1 through 50. We're here talking about the greatest season of all time. Talking about Russell Hantz because we're on Samoa. Before we get started, subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff, because we are going to be talking a lot about Russell Hantz here. And I know a lot of people have been looking forward to us talking about Russell.
I mean, one of the most, not even one of, the most infamous Survivor player of all time. The most talked about, the most divisive. And yeah, this season is all Russell all the time. It's 24/7 Russell. And really kind of like just a companion piece to season 20. It's like the starter before the main course of heroes versus villains.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin?
Yeah, maybe not one of the best seasons ever, but definitely one of the most controversial, like, winner / crazy player type season we've seen. So yeah, big fan of Samoa. I like my crazier seasons, maybe ones that lack a little bit of strategicness, but more like the social dynamics and whether they're good socially or bad socially. I like to watch them for those reasons. And Samoa, hits those points kind of like Gabon does for me. So
yeah,
definitely excited to talk about this one. I got a few players I really like on this season. Some people, will say, "Oh, Russell takes up all the screen time," but at the end of the day, I also look at my very few confessionals on certain people and really like them also. So excited to talk about this one.
Yeah, Samoa's one where, like, I feel like there's a very interesting season there, as we'll talk about, but I feel like the edit where it's very pro Russell is just like it kind of takes away some of the intrigue, but there's still a lot of fun, unpredictable gameplay, which is kind of what puts Samoa a little higher in like the middle tier for me as a season. But I'm not the biggest Russell fan, so and I know that there's other people who are not either. So it's not
people who don't like entertainment.
I enjoy entertainment, so like, but as we'll get to, but I guess before we get into it, do you guys have any other reasons for why you wanted to discuss Samoa? I know we kind of just mentioned some reasons as we got started here, but
I'll kick it off on my reason why. My biggest reason for this season is there is so many what ifs on this type of season that, like, one little change could absolutely change the entire outcome of how the season's played. And I'm sure the cast all, reminisce that exact thing, because obviously they tank their entire Galu tribe just by idiotic last second, gameplay moves. Because I mean, you go into Emerge 8-4 and absolutely wipe yourselves clean. It's kind of, humorous in one way, right? But absolutely, like, you're probably just pissed off the other side of the coin, right? Like the Eric move right at that, start Emerge is like one of the crazier what ifs. You got the Kelly what if. You got like what if Russell doesn't get injured. You got like the what if you actually can get rid of Shambo before the merge. Like, there's so many different types of ways to look at it. Like, because at the end of the day, even the what if with Rocks is also one way of Galu not ruining their game. So yeah, I like the certainness of this season, how it's very like one little thing could have changed it all, but at the end of the day, it's like what happens, and it's just funny, like, looking back and watching this type of season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great segue for Shane and I for Survivor What If, for a great teaser for that. But Shane and I, just as like a preview for What If, since Austin brought it up, we did talk about what if Russell Swan didn't get Medevac, so that'll be coming up as of the time of this recording. That'll come up next week. So yeah, look out for that. But yeah, absolutely, a lot of what ifs. Michael, any other reasons for you?
So Russell is the reason I became a Survivor fan. I somehow stumbled upon Heroes versus Villains. That was the first season I ever watched, which for the first season, it's an amazing season, but a lot of context for who these people are. And just from an entertainment standpoint of being like, who the hell is this legitimate lunatic that is running around the island? It's like the Joker is suddenly dropped into Survivor. And so then I went back and I found out what his first season was, and I watched that and just thought he's like a pure content machine. And to me, he says and does some horrific things. I don't agree with, a lot of the things he says. I probably wouldn't get on with the guy personally or share his views on things, but I'm just a guy watching an entertainment show.
Right.
And I talked about it with Coach, pure content, pure entertainment. And Russell carries the season in terms of entertainment. And we need more people like that. We need entertaining characters so that Survivor isn't just some boring popularity contest where everyone just flies under the radar and does nothing. But that's what people want these days. The best players are the ones you don't even see or hear.
Can I make a great point that Mike started to bring up here? I watch these shows for the fact of watching Survivor. I don't watch these shows to care about what they do outside, care about what their political views are. I am watching these shows basically off what they're showing me on the show. And I mean, we'll get into it as we get into this, but there's a few parts of this season where people start saying some stupid shit that they probably shouldn't be on TV, but that's what makes them characters on the show. And I'm all for watching messy people mess up, their games. So, maybe a reason why I'm not too into the new era nowadays, but like, I like the messy, like Q, for example, on season 46. Some people don't, but I'm all here to watch someone obliterate their own shit. So this is another reason why I like this season. There's just little fires there and there that people are just running around with. So
yeah, and like Russell does some very crazy things, as we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, Survivor wouldn't be the what it is without villains. Like, if Russell had not come along, Survivor wouldn't be what it is today. So from that perspective, I respect what Russell brought to the show itself, and like, he should be respected at least for that. And nothing good to say about Russell's views outside the game. But this is the show we're watching and breaking him down as a character and his moves within the game. So, I just want people to remember that watching. I mean, obviously in 2025, in that lens, I think Russell would get canceled.
He wouldn't even get on the show probably nowadays.
No chance. But if you disagree, that's fine. But you're allowed your opinions. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. People are allowed to have their opinions. Well, just accept it.
That's the other way to look at it too. If you're watching these strictly to love someone off the screen and get to know their personal lives, then that's on you, man. But
right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into the season now itself. So we start off, we get Galu and Foa Foa. They're already pre-divided. And we're going to get to the opening twist of the first impressions. So what are your guys' thoughts? Just first impressions of the cast in general as we're getting introduced to them and as we get into this opening twist.
I mean, we don't know too much about the cast. We don't get too much information on a lot of these people because the edit is very focused on one. But I really like this opening twist in terms of, again, having a vote, but instead a positive vote of who should be a leader, and then that person dividing the challenge up. I think that's a fun way of doing it. We've seen with Tocantins, the weakest member of the tribe and stuff like that. So I feel like it's just a continuation of that, and we get feckless Mick and good guy Russell as our leaders.
Yes, good Russell, and feckless leader Mick with delusional entitlement. Austin, your thoughts on the twist of the cast?
Do we know if the cast themselves picks these tribes, or do we know if like Survivor picks these tribes right off the bat?
This was definitely Survivor. I mean, you can tell. I mean, they also have their clothing is color coded. They started that with Tocantins, I believe, where you can tell, because like Tocantins, it was like the Timbira tribe had like black and purple clothing, Jalapa had like red and like lighter clothing, and here it's the same thing. Galu has like purple clothing. Foa Foa has yellow for the most part. So
one thing I really wish maybe at this point is that they continue to kind of choose their own tribes, because I mean, they kind of missed they didn't balance these tribes out very well, in my opinion. And rewatching it, I was obviously oblivious to it the first time, but the second time I'm looking at these two tribes standing there and I'm like, why is there like these little girls on one side and the other side has like two chicks who probably can deadlift branches, and they got guys that can toss each other around. And you got like guys who are getting medevacted for just running, and you know what I mean? So I'm just looking at these and going, Jesus Christ. But the actual twist itself, big fan of. I don't know if this is the first time. Was this the first time they did this type of twist? Like,
Tokentines did the weakest link twist as we brought up the first impressions, but I believe we haven't seen one like this where they vote for the leader. No.
So I kind of I like the part where they actually have the leader choose, like,
yes,
prejudiceally, like who goes to what activity. That I like. I don't know if I like the captain part too much, but like I guess it goes into the theme as, you know, later on in this, throughout the pre-merge, you know, someone has to send someone to the other tribe, and you know it's usually it's the captain that's doing that. So I understand that part of the game, but yeah, it was a good twist, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. It's really interesting. So I mean, we're gonna get Mick and we're gonna get Russell Swan as the leaders. And I mean, it's interesting even like how divided both tribes are. Like, neither tribe is like in a consensus vote. It's like what Mick gets 4 votes and then Russell Swan gets 4 votes. So I like that it wasn't, because it was purely first impressions, you're not getting like complete tribe think either. So yeah, and as far as like this cast in general, I do agree with Austin's point of like it definitely seems like Galu is like the stronger tribe from the jump, and like Foa Foa, I don't know if they were just like, because when they cast Russell, I have a feeling like they knew what kind of character they wanted Russell to be, so they're just like, let's put him with a bunch of people who are like, I guess, easier to manipulate.
I mean, that's a TV show, so it's a good theory. Like maybe they did do that. They looked at Russell and went, "Oh, this dude's just gonna run circles around certain people. Like let's just throw them all in one tribe and see what happens." So
yeah.
We see. I mean, he ends up running circles around both tribes, so you know.
Well, that's true. I think that's just the cast in general. But, yeah, so Mick ends up picking Marisa for the balance beam, Jaison for swimming. You have Russell Hantz for the strength portion, and then the puzzle is Liz. And then Russell Swan picks Eric Cardona for the strength. You have John Fincher for the swimming. You have Shambo for the puzzle, and then you have Yasmin for the balance beam. So I do think it's funny. My favorite part is when Russell Swan is like having to pick one for the puzzle, the way he says Shambo.
She is not happy about it. No. She says she has book that, not book smarts, but street smarts.
Yeah,
I mean, she's doing pretty good too, though. She's doing pretty good.
She did. Yeah, I do love Shambo. I think Shambo comes off as a great character right off the bat. I mean, she does get one of the opening confessionals. Actually, the opening confessional this season is CGI Brett, so, which is really funny because he gets literally nothing else till like the last 3 episodes of the season.
He's a total NPC the entire season till he's necessary.
I was just like, why are you showing us the opening confessional for Brett and not giving him anything?
They wanted to get us ready for his Final Four run.
True. But and then so Jaison ends up impressing everybody with the swim. You have Mike Barassi saying he's impressed by an Afro-American. Just
Afro.
Mike Barassi is just a weird man.
Mike's probably mad he didn't get picked with swim.
What was that, Michael? Of his time, I think. I don't think it was a surprise, but yeah, he's gonna get medevaced into oblivion, so we don't have to worry about him too much.
He does call himself a mean motor scooter, and he's gonna take them to Chinatown. That's the like other quotes from Mike Barassi that I remember. But fun tidbit: he was supposed to be on Tokentines and then didn't pass the medical physical in that, and then got moved to Samoa. Which, like, if you were gonna cast him, I don't know why you won't just like give him a little more time before you cast him. But it was an interesting decision. But yeah, so the Foa Foa tribe does actually win the challenge, interestingly enough. So right away you're like, okay, Galu gets called the underdogs, which is not going to be accurate. But let's head to the tribes. So, I mean, really, we're going to talk about Foa Foa here. And immediately you're going to have Russell being like, I didn't come here to work, I came here to play, and immediately he starts forming alliances with everybody. He calls the girls his dumbass girl alliance, which again, Russell would be canceled at this point.
I mean, I think that's fair. Yeah. Don't be saying stuff like that, Russell. That's just shitty, but yeah.
Already off to the ego start. That's just crazy that he even thinks like that. It's funny as hell.
And in terms of pure content, the fact that he calls it his dumbass girl alliance and then he does get beat by Natalie at the end, like,
Yes.
Like karmically, that is a wonderful bookend to the season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jeff points it out at the reunion. He's like,
Yeah.
the dumb girl did beat your ass.
I wonder, watching it back, like Natalie's watching it, because at this point in Survivor, they didn't tell you who won yet, right? Until that finale.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So like watching it back, she's probably like laughing her ass off, like, oh my God, he's just been this delusional, like, person who thinks he's just puppeting all these, you know, good looking chicks on her tribe. And I'm in the final 3.
I know. This is a very good looking cast. We should mention that because this is, I mean, I think we mentioned it when we talked about Micronesia being a good looking cast. This is probably like the next most good looking cast in general. So.
Madman running around amongst them all.
Yes.
Can we just mention as well, like, it is crazy watching episode 1 of Samoa and the insane weight loss that, like, Russell does not look like the same human being.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to play back-to-back with pretty much no break. From episode 1 of Samoa to the finale of Heroes versus Villains,
Yes.
he is, like, a completely different... He loses, like, half of his mass.
Yeah, he looks completely different. I've seen the pictures. Like, he looks very much, like, pampered and eaten a lot, and like all of a sudden you get to Heroes versus Villains and he looks like a corpse.
I mean, that must be the best weight like loss plan there is, right? Like the dude just goes out for 39 days and is looking ripped.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's, the other big thing in the premiere is obviously, Russell is now going to pour out the canteens, burn Jaison socks, and he talks about Hurricane Katrina. When we talked to Boo in our What If interview, Boo talked about how he had gotten Russell on the show because they were friends. And him and Russell had rehearsed this lie about Hurricane Katrina. So, like, this was rehearsed. Russell didn't come up with it on the fly. He had talked about it with Boo from Fiji. So,
do you know who Russell reminds me of? He's like the VIPs in Squid Game, where he's just this multimillionaire who's like going out there to fuck with people, and he just doesn't care. He doesn't have to do these things. He like burning socks, but he does preface it with the strategy of like, if you can control how they feel, you can control how they think, and it's crazy because his actions are insane. But they do work for him, and no one ever really goes against him. He does have a lot of sway over his tribe, and it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy where obviously Foa Four is going to go down in numbers, but would they go down in the numbers the way they did if their tribe wasn't so weak and hungry and missing their clothes because this madman was destroying their possessions? Like, would it have been more balanced? Did Russell cause all this by being so reckless with his own tribe?
I think so. I mean, I think if you are burning people's clothes and pouring out their water and everything, I think it's going to contribute to your tribe being really weak.
And it just, he wouldn't get this incredible comeback story if he didn't. And I'm sure like Russell would prefer it to go the way it did, obviously with winning at the end. But like, I think he enjoys playing in that position of the bottom and taking control. Imagine Russell was just in a majority alliance, like just chilling, like he'd hate that.
Oh yeah. He definitely is coming in here to destruct in period. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something we don't see very often, if at all, until he comes on. So it's just funny watching it right off the bat, just torturing people, really.
Yeah, it is crazy. So then we also get, like, once he forms this dumbass girl alliance, he gets immediately clocked by Betsy, which is not going to work out for her. But I believe Betsy is the first cop. Oh no, Ken Stafford in Thailand. Forget about Thailand. But she's the first cop in a while since like season 5 to be on the show. And so she's immediately trying to clock Russell, being like, he's not a good person. And like, it is again crazy. Like everybody, we're gonna see it with Marisa here shortly. Like they're gonna clock Russell, and then it's gonna come and backfire on them. So.
It's so funny how quick Russell is to feel threatened. Like the second someone says a single thing to him, it's like they threatened me. They've got to go first. Betsy threatened me. She's got to go. Like the second anyone even remotely questions him, they're gone. And that's good because it leaves him with the people that don't question him. It's like he gets rid of anyone that's deemed remotely to be questioning what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, Marisa definitely shouldn't just come up to him and be like, I think you're slimy. Like, I feel like she absolutely picked the wrong time to go up to Russell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's good game theory, right? Like, being able to tell, okay, this person's going to either come at me at some point or they just dislike me, period. So, I mean, the fact that he's just able to point a finger at someone and everyone's just like, thumbs up, like, that's good game strategy in theory, right? So...
Yeah. So Foa Foa loses immunity, and so now this is where Marisa gets targeted because she calls Russell out, and her and Ben are also not getting along, which, I mean, I don't think anybody really wants to get along with Ben, so, like, besides Russell.
Even Russell is willing to get rid of the guy. Like, how bad do you have to be where even Russell is like, you know what? We can't be dealing with this guy.
I mean, I do think Russell kind of gets forced into it because of Jaison, but we'll get there. But I mean, I do think he realizes it, but I do also think he gets pushed to do it. Yeah, so Marisa's going to be the first boot. We'll get to our rankings later, but it is interesting. Like, Ashley and Marisa, like, are the targets, and they're not thinking about getting rid of Mike Barassi at this vote, which probably should be the case, because dude is literally not even doing the puzzle. Like, he's literally just standing there watching the other tribe at the challenge.
Well, again, it's because of Russell, right? Like, Russell wants, he thinks he's on his side, so he doesn't need to. He can get rid of someone who's his opposition, his op, and I guess, as the cool kids say it nowadays. So the op had to go.
Yeah.
I said now a private chat where it was like Barassi's trying to focus on getting rid of the weak with this without the self-awareness of being like, if we're looking at the weak, my dude, it's you.
Yeah, I also was curious because on the DVD they do have like bonus scenes and like tribal council voting for like some of these older seasons, and so I was watching Marisa's, and Mike Barassi votes for Marisa and says, "You are gunning for me, so I'm voting for you." So Russell obviously went to people. It was like, Marisa's gunning for you. So it's like wild. So Marisa's gonna go. Obviously, like, Betsy's gonna go with this next tribal for the same reasons. But we should talk about a couple things. So we get the Laura versus Shambo rivalry starting here because Shambo loses the snorkel and mask in the swamp, and she comes back and says, "Bad news, I lost the snorkel. Good news, there's fish in the ocean."
Bro.
The funniest confessional that Laura has, like, you're never gonna believe it. Guess what? There's fish in the ocean.
Oh, Shambo, you cracked me the fuck up, man.
She's great.
Yeah, I love Shambo. It's just a funny way to start this rivalry in this season between Laura and Shambo.
She's a good example of like a type of person where, you know, a certain group of people will just dislike her, but a certain group would just love her because she does have that energy where, like, I specifically would be like, oh, she's probably cool to have a drink with and hang out and just yap. But like some people would be like, bro, why is this dumbass like yapping at me? So like obviously she gets put on a tribe where that's the case. Like, shut up, Shambo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is also, we get our Schmergen Brawl. This is the first challenge to ever get banned in Survivor history because when you put a challenge that's basically football and rugby, but you have no like padding or anything, people are gonna get injured. So yeah, this is a bad idea.
I'm gonna give a little bit of like, I don't know how to say it, but like shade to the Survivor like people who came up with this and put a 62-year-old like grandpa in there and didn't think he'd like almost die.
Right.
Like, dude's like trying, like, it's like watching my grandfather 10 years ago run around in a like 10 by 10 pit and just get destroyed by 28-year-old men who are like deadlifting branches back at camp. Like, did you not expect him to just have a heart failure or low blood pressure after this? Like, come on.
It was a bad idea.
I do feel bad for him because you can see he's really trying to prove himself, like prove that he's not physically weak. And the moment like him and Eric hit like so hard, the collision, and he just like you see his body just fail. It's like it is sad. It's a brutal challenge, like so brutal. I call it murder ball in my notes because I think that's pretty accurate. But man,
it literally almost killed somebody.
Yeah. And we'll see it again and with James in Heroes versus Villains, which be the last guy you think would get injured from this. But also obviously Ben gets kicked out of the challenge, so we get the Ben is a jackass storyline now. And so this isn't the first time. Thailand was the first time that Jeff kicked people out of a challenge, but he obviously doesn't remember Thailand. So
no one remembers Thailand. It's fine.
No one remembers it.
I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, you've definitely evicted someone out of a challenge before.
Rob Zabachnik, yes, and the rest of the soup chais. But
the choke.
Yeah, the choke, yes. So but yes, so Ben gets kicked out of the challenge, the outlaw. Just
fucking Ben, man.
Horrible. Yeah. And then, as we said, Mike Brossi gets Medevac, which, I mean, I think he was going to be kicked out either. I mean, I think Betsy probably would have gotten kicked out over him just because Russell's influence, but I do think Mike was, like, going probably right after Betsy.
Oh, most likely. We probably see a double, too, at some point in the pre-merge if random evac doesn't happen, but...
Right. I mean, the double gets stopped a couple times. I mean, this, and then, obviously, Russell Swan we'll get to later, but... I definitely think that this eliminated one double, obviously. I was surprised they didn't just cancel like tribal or anything, but because of this, but they just went ahead with it. So
I guess because they had 20 this time, so they felt like, okay, we can do a Medevac and still have a vote, but then obviously we're going to get another Medevac, so then it was like, we need to stop going to tribal.
Yeah. So, and then, Yasmin's going to get kidnapped, taken to, or joins Foa Foa. And this is, she basically comes to camp and kind of like tells people she doesn't want to take candy from a baby, which does upset the rest of the tribe. But that's all, for naught because Ben is going to say stuff that's so much worse.
I mean, I understand the outrage of Ben, but like the obvious, like, way about it was not the correct way to go about it. Because I probably like Jaison was even pissed. Like he was like, "Bro, how are you gonna come in here and demoralize me? Like that's just pathetic, right?" Which I would have been pissed too, but I don't know if I would. Like Ben goes about it a way where that's just how they do things where he's probably from, so it's not the best way.
Yeah, the racism. So
I mean, like Yasmin comes in saying, it would rub you the wrong way, and I think most people are, upset about it for those words. But then it becomes very clear that Ben is, upset for different reasons. We're kind of lumping the pre-merge in together, so we could probably talk about like the Jaison Ben situation.
Let's just go ahead and go to it. Yeah.
Like, I almost like that Betsy goes over Ben in that moment because it does lead to Jaison having this incredible moment of tribal council where it's probably Jason's moment of the season because he really does. From here he kind of loses his, will
his
in the
heart.
Game or something. It's his heart, but he has this very eloquent, well-spoken speech to Ben about like maybe you are just ignorant, maybe you don't get it, and like I agree. I think it is pure ignorance on Ben's part, and. Yeah, I like that they had that moment of Jaison like standing up and saying, "This is more than the game. Like either he goes or I go. Like I'm not staying here with this guy." And it's a moment where everyone kind of comes together and goes, "Yeah, you know what? Let's just get rid of this guy." And that's all I've got to say about Ben.
Yeah, because in this instant, it's also like Russell looking at this because he literally says how he wants to work with Jaison, but also has talked about how he wants to work with Ben because Ben's just like clown that he can kind of move with, so he obviously picks Jaison to keep around and work with because he sees the smarts and is like, yeah, fuck this Ben guy. If Ben's gonna be this delusional and just outright rude and asshole-ish, then let's just move on. You know what I mean? I'll keep Jaison around. So yeah, I agree. This was definitely his moment because I think the actual elements starts to kill him from here on. So
yeah, I do think Russell was kind of forced into this because Jaison did speak out so well, and the fact that he like basically strong arms, and in a way, this is a great move by Jaison to like basically strong arm the tribe, being like, "I will leave if Ben doesn't leave tonight," and then just basically like forcing them all to go for Ben. I thought this was great. It probably makes Jaison honestly my favorite of the Foa Foa Four, even though after this he really loses all passion and heart in the game, and that's ultimately I think what's going to do him in later in the game, is lacking any passion to keep going. So, but
money's not passionate enough.
I guess not. I don't know. Like it's just odd because like again, I do think part of it is like Jaison's socks are burnt. He doesn't have socks for like 30 days. Like it didn't help with like all the rain and everything.
It was a very rainy season, man. Like holy crap. They literally get rid of someone and don't even strategize during an entire episode of rain. So
yeah, the Ashley boot. Yeah. I did want to mention here, as we kind of move forward. So Eric Cardona and Ashley Trainer were both alternates because they were originally going to have an 18-person cast, and they spent the extra budget on Ashley and Eric, just adding them to the cast, and that's why there's no family visit this season.
I wonder what made them change their idea on that. Like because I know I was reading, because I'm a big Eric fan from the season. I was like reading some of the stuff, and I'm like, I wonder if him actually trying to like just show the casting how like much he wants to get on, if that and actually doing whatever she does kind of like influences them to go like, fuck it, let's just throw an extra double in there and add them into it, screw the family visit. Like I wonder what made them kind of shift to like, let's throw these two in there, screw it.
Yeah it is interesting. I feel like I feel like they were just like, for a little more wiggle room, maybe we add these two people in. And I think it obviously benefits them in that way because they do have a little more wiggle room with 20 people and with the two medevacs that happen. So, but yeah, so and then my favorite part at Galu in the pre-merge is that Shambo one of the chickens gets let loose, which contributes to Shambo continually being sent over to Foa Foa that Russell sends her because she lost the chicken. But Eric gets clotheslined by the clothesline trying to chase the chicken.
Bro.
Yeah, it's funny on the Shambo thing because it's crazy. At one point they talk about how Shambo's not a threat. They're not worried about Shambo, and Shambo, going over to 4-4 so often and building that relationship. And people don't talk, positively about Russell's social game very often, but when it comes to cultivating that relationship with Shambo, that's probably the key factor in how they were able to do what they're going to do at Merge. So like Shambo coming over so many times really kind of helped for get solid footing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's like a key to Russell's game strategy in theory, right? Because he knows he needs to make connections with everyone. He says it in certain times of the episodes, like I don't give a shit. I'm talking to everyone and I'm strategizing. Which maybe don't be so blunt about it, but that is like the key to this game, right? Like make sure you have some sort of relationship, whether it's bad or good, because at least going into certain, instances. And like with Shambo, he's learning this shit like, oh, everyone hates me over here. Well, I'm Russell. Nice to meet you. Like, let's keep you around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to see my idol?
Oh my, yeah.
Here's my idol.
We'll talk about that. We should bring up the idol. So Eric does find it at Galu, and then Russell finds. They claim it's the first idol without a clue. I'm gonna fight back on that. It was Gary Hogaboom in Guatemala that found it without a clue because he was just tracking what Judd said.
Yeah.
So because Judd had the clue, but
Eric doesn't find it without a clue, or finds it without a clue too. So I mean,
true.
Both of these people kind of find it without clues, I guess.
Yeah,
if we're playing to that rule, because I guess he does get shown a clue, but like at the end of the day, it wasn't his clue.
Right. I think it's funny also, Russell's literally finding this first idol in the trees, literally in there when everybody's at camp, and everybody's like, I think Mick is like, what are you doing? And Russell's just like, I'm looking for the idol. It was just like, what?
Bro, they are literally standing there watching this grown man in a fucking tree digging into his shorts. And how does no one know? That just cracks me up.
It's pre, this is what Survivor evolved into because of this moment. Like people weren't looking at him doing that because that's not what people did. You get idle clues and then you find it. Like just going and looking for it, people weren't like opening their eyes to it. So yeah, he manages to do a lot right in front of people. And I do like how Russell uses the idol. I think, he doesn't just use it as protection for himself. He uses it as kind of bargaining and building trust. The relationship with Mick, the relationship with Jaison, he builds those relationships by, showing the idol, by, showing that trust with them, and they're loyal to him throughout. And then we're going to see him do it again and again. Whenever he finds an idol, everyone knows about it.
Yeah, there's absolutely two different ways the two people on this season go about their idols, right? Like Eric, first off, I don't know how Yasmin doesn't at least go and try to find this thing. Like she must just throw the fucking clue away and go back to sleeping. But the fact that Shambo just comes over and shows him and John, like, oh, here's the fucking clue, go do whatever you want. And he literally goes and looks for it while everyone's just napping. I'm just like, great timing to go do it. I mean, that's probably when I would go do it too if I'm with a tribe that's just not giving a shit. But dude finds it immediately, is like, I'm only using this at like day 30 plus. Like, you know what I mean? Like he has no strategy with this thing other than the fact, like, once I make my big run, like I'm going to use it. You know what I mean? Like doesn't even think about showing it or like strategizing with it. Whereas Russell, obviously later after the merge, like into the merge, he's like, here. Like he's the goddamn like Marvel Gauntlet man or some shit.
Infinity Gauntlet, yeah. So the other thing in the pre-merge, we obviously need to mention Russell Swan's Medevac. Shane and I, again, talked about it in our What If. I think this moment absolutely affects the entire season because Russell Swan holds Galu together. I mean, really, the only mistake I think Russell Swan made up to this point was taking the comfort over, like, the tarp.
Yeah.
But, like, it didn't really... I mean, I guess it did because they were rained on, but, like, I don't think it really affected his standing at all in the game. And here he just gets Medevac after pushing himself very far, like, to the limit. So
yeah, he's just, it shows you him in the rain. He's the only person in his tribe that's continuing to work while everyone else is resting. And yeah, his body just it's scary. This is one of the scariest things I've seen on a reality TV show. The moment where he collapses for the second time and his eyes are open, but just like staring. Yeah. It's scary. Like, man.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that sucks as a viewer, like, because you're obviously watching this Galu tribe and you're just like, oh, dude, Russell Swan is running circles with this tribe. Like, literally, he's going to make this run, whatever, and then he just drops, and you're just like, wow, holy shit. Like, anything can happen in a snap of a finger, like, to a certain person, and, like, the entire game just, like, changes because other people start getting the thought, obviously, of, like, oh, I'm running this fucking game now, like, Eric starts getting a little more egoed up. Shambo's like, oh, I'm the goddamn, person in charge now. You listen to me. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it starts to change people's head game a little bit after he goes, and it just immersely changes how the outcome goes.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, I mean, this also cancels the double that was going to happen, which means that we lose Liz, and it seems we actually lose Shambo. I know Monica Padilla was like a target at one point, but I think Shambo would have ended up going based on the numbers, because I think it was only Eric and John Fincher that were trying to save Shambo. So
I'm trying to think, like, number-wise, do we think that they do a merge at 11 if this double happens? Because, like, obviously we still do a vote the next one with Liz. Right. So, like, that would get them to 12 at the Liz vote out, like the one that actually happens. Do they just merge at 11 then, or do you think they like plan? Like,
I think so, because I think their schedule would have been still have that last pre-merge challenge, like they already did. So
I wonder if they just go with the jury as it was gonna be going at 11. Like what did they have? 9 people? What was it 12, 10? Yeah, like 9 under. It would have been 8. It would have been 8 in that instance. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see like how the game changes. Because let's say Foa Foa loses again, Jaison probably
it's Jaison.
Let go right before merge now. Like holy shit! Now you got like it's still 8-3. 8-3. Like now it just is even more chaotic for Foa Foa.
Shane and I talked about this and how like at this point, I mean, I guess we also talked about if Russell Swan was still in the game, but Obviously, if they're down to 3, like Galu could theoretically split votes for a couple of rounds, and they lose
They
the
probably
ability.
still go at each other, right? Like maybe they get rid of Mick.
Yeah, they were done. Like, also, that's the other thing about a tribe that wins so much. You know, they're not having the building up all these kind of resentments and annoyances at camp and not getting to go to tribal. So when you come to merge, there's so much there that is so easy to break.
Yeah. All right, so that is the pre-merge. I think so. Let's hit the post-merge, and this is where a lot of our discussion is going to be now. So this is the merge. They merge into the Iga tribe, or which is what Samoan for family, or as Eric said, what Samoan for get the hell off my island.
Didn't work out for him.
No, that's what the other people will tell him to do shortly. Yeah, so we're gonna have this where Foa Foa knows they're down 4-8, and they have to make something happen. We do get the T-ball challenge. Can we talk about the challenges this season are very weird? We got like bocce ball, which is a do-it-yourself. Jeff doesn't even show up for the first time ever, which is so strange and is not a good challenge. T-ball here. Bowling. Like we get some odd challenges in this season, and I'm just
I think it's like a budget thing just because of the introduction of the 2 new people. They almost probably were like, shit, now we can't do like this or this or this. Let's just toss in like bocce fucking ball and baseball. Like they literally just started picking sports, and we're just like, I don't know what's next, volleyball, fucking football. Like, oh, we can do this rugby football game. Fuck yeah, let's throw that in there at the start. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is an odd like challenges this season.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a couple other seasons coming up in like the near future, I think, where the challenges are also very odd and low budget. But this is like the first that I really noticed that, like, since the early seasons, because you got stuff like kite flying back in the day and things like that. But yeah, we do get a funny moment in this T-ball challenge. You get Danger Dave ball and making love is his sport.
Oh my god, quote of the season. This shit's hilarious.
Do you play often? Not often enough, Jeff. Such a funny line.
We needed more Danger Dave.
We need more purple in general. The entire purple tribe got purple. We don't know anything about Galu.
Right. Yeah. For how funny Dave Ball is, it's a crime that he did not get more content.
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes from like the perspective of, all right, this is our TV show. Like this tribe barely goes to tribal ever. Like, do we really need to focus more on them? You know what I mean? Like nowadays they spread it out way more, obviously, because the agenda's changed as in like what people like to see. But probably around that time, they were just like, well, we have this fucking troll running the entire Foa Foa tribe. Let's just, see what he has to do at every travel, because that was like the main focal point. Like someone's going home, how do they go home? So let's see what happens, right? We don't give a shit about Laura and then Shambo just hating each other every fucking day, or Eric doing dumb shit and Kelly just soaking up sun. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, nowadays I'd like to see a little more personality out of them. Also, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not in favor of what happened, but yeah, I mean, that's probably why, in my eyes, they kind of just pushed their agenda out until merge.
Yeah, I can see that. So, I mean, a lot happens here now. So Laura and John Fincher win immunity. And so now we're going to get to the chaos of Russell showing everyone his idol. And then you get Natalie White making her best move of the game, which is going to the girls and saying, let's get rid of Eric. Eric's being super arrogant to the Foa Foas, which prompts that. So, and we're going to get Eric Cardona as our first jury member. So thoughts on everything that happens here?
Very happy to see Eric go. Sorry, Austin. Unfortunately, he's not going to keep his mouth shut at Final Tribal. We'll get to that shit. But I will say it leads to maybe my favorite Shambo moment of the entire season, where John and Danger Dave come up to her and like, we're doing Eric, and she's like, who's Eric? Wait, our Eric? It's so funny. She's so out of the loop on so much throughout this season. It's just such a joke.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on a couple tribals where Jeff even gets mad at her for being so out of the loop.
Well, let's face it, they literally say it halfway through that episode too. They're just like, we don't give a shit. like I think Eric literally says, I don't give a fuck if she votes for Probes. Like, just let's all make sure the Foa Foas are on board.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is my only time to talk about my probably. I feel like everyone has their person that they biasly like. Like, I don't like Eric for any other reason of the fact that I just related to him. Like, I like the little ego-ness trip he gets, like, as a character. Like, I liked him as a strategist a little bit, but, like, he just blows it all up at Merge. And like, that's the part where I'm always like, fuck, I would have loved to see him try again, because he has the slight mind to play a game, but he just yapped at the absolute wrong time about someone of his own tribe that, you know, he didn't expect Foa Foa just to flip the entire agenda like they did. But I mean, that goes to Natalie's game. I'll give her some, you know, flowers. Like, she looked at that, seen Jaison was pissed about, you know, how Eric approached them, and was like, why don't we just tell the girls that, you know, he's flipping on Monica, because it's going to help my game with the girls. So why not just do it? So
right.
Totally give the flowers to the, you know, Natalie, and the fact that, again, Eric just doesn't sniff the idol at all that's in his fucking pocket. So, I mean,
after Russell plays his, because
yeah, I mean,
insane.
I kind of understand in his exit interview, because he's like, I didn't expect it at all, and I never had like a glimpse of, you know, info that it was going to be me. So I guess at the end of the day, if you really have zero feeling that you're going to go home anyway, like, I kind of understand it. But yeah, like, even with Jaison kind of being like at the merge, he's kind of just like downplaying it from Eric, like, oh, I don't give a shit what you say. Like, little glimpses, I almost feel I would have like rubbed me a little bit and been like, why is he like so like coming back at me? You know what I mean? So I don't know, but that's enough about Eric, because he's really not important anymore. So we'll move on.
Right. Yeah. I would have liked to see him come back at some point. I do find it interesting, because I feel like he was trying to play a Russell game, but then we'll get to him at Final Tribal. We'll bring him up again later with that.
Yeah.
It's very weird how he wanted to play that type of game, and then he is super against it by the end. But
yeah, I think people
We
were.
see him on the jury being like super pumped, like when Russell plays idols, and like he seems super excited about it. And then all of a sudden he's this, you know, self-righteous guy at the end.
Yeah,
we also came to like one by one going to the jury and just talking absolute shit about him, and it must have rubbed. Like, I have no idea, honestly, why his agenda flips after like 10 days.
It is odd. But I also wanted to bring up Russell showing everybody the idol, and it literally gets them to flush his idol out, basically. Again, I feel like this is a very odd bit of decisions by Russell, and also like he starts making final two deals with everybody, which I think it's a bad move on Russell's part to just tell everybody I'll go to the final two with you, or like Laura, he promises like final seven just randomly. Like, I just feel like it's a bunch of very odd decisions, and I just feel like this is like Russell's biggest flaw in the game, because he doesn't know how to manage a jury at all.
Yeah, he's getting a little trigger happy at this point in his game, because I agree. I think this is where he starts to show the flaws of, you know, his ability to be deceptive and lie just chaotically. And now he's lying to people that he's just met, like, you know, they actually live together for like 3 days now, and he's just absolutely lying to them. Like, it's going to rub you off the wrong way if you hear from 5 other people that, oh, he's done final twos with me also. So you're just like, bro, fuck you, snake. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So Eric's going to go, and now we're going to get to Natalie's other shining moment this season is killing the rats. So this is why she's called Rattly. So another, I think it is funny every time Natalie does something, she says, "Oh my word."
That conky twang.
But yeah, so that happens, and really the biggest thing here is like Laura cannot win immunity again, which of course she does, and this is another really weird challenge, which is like grappling like pieces and then making like, it's like a Connect 4 board, except it's like you're putting shapes in. At one point, Russell's talking shit about how they can't, like Shambo and Mick aren't even looking at the shapes; they're just trying to randomly.
So you just have to look at it, yeah.
Yeah, and Laura's just looking at it and placing everything where they need to go, and it's just like, it's not a hard challenge. Like, I know you're starving out there, but it's just like, I don't understand how these people like Shambo and Mick are not looking at it like how you should look at this board. But
Yeah, it's something I'll never have an opinion on unless I'm actually out there, because
Right.
I can sit here and talk all day about how they suck ass just because they're not doing it right. But I mean, maybe their brain's just foggy as hell. Maybe they're just exhausted, not even thinking. Like
that's true.
it just comes down to these things, because you'd think Shambo would be decent at challenges, but she just absolutely sucks. Like at a point, so.
I would have thought Dr. Mick would have been good at something like this, but apparently not.
In defense of all the players, like, it does mess with your head. I played for 3 days in a live game, and I was like, my head was fogged at several points. It's tough, and it's 100 times tougher for them. So yeah, it is one of those things where you can't quite see how physically and mentally depleted they are, and especially Foa Fours. Jesus,
Yeah, that's true.
they've had nothing.
Yeah, that's probably why Mick's brain was fogged, is he's literally had nothing for like 20 days. So, but yes, so now, so Russell does find another idol under the bridge. The troll finds it under the bridge. That's really funny.
So funny. And like, we should mention how he like bird dogs idols, how he manipulates not even the players, he manipulates the camera crew to the point now where the production are aware of how people are finding idols. But that's something that Russell definitely innovated in the game in terms of trying to see when the cameras are trained on you. Okay, I'm in the right place, and finding them that way, like, that is smart, and that is something he does deserve a lot of credit for, because he finds those things so quick, and it's crazy.
He's sitting on that bridge so much too in the pre-merge, or the merge. Like I'm watching the Eric episode, I'm watching the Kelly episode, and he's just sitting there like talking to like Shambo and John. I'm like, I wonder if he ever just casually like looked under and seen it or something, and knew that it was he could come back to that point at some point. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's a maybe there, but yeah, I do think, again, he has talked about it on podcasts and stuff, like this is how he found those idols, is the camera crew. So yes, that's very smart of him to do that. Again, like Michael said, innovates the way people have looked for idols. So Shambo obviously brings up, okay, they can't get Laura, let's get Kelly. Because Kelly's stronger than Monica, and you can break up that alliance. And so we'll get to Tribal, and Shambo also makes sure that Russell's getting the votes, which, again, I think Shambo is a huge part in this vote.
Oh, yeah.
So Russell plays the idol. I ain't finished playing just yet, and successfully
Keep hope alive.
Yeah, keep hope alive, where he will get the tattoo of in later seasons. But he plays the idol, negates 7 votes because Shambo like pretends she's with Galu, and the Foa Foas blindside Kelly out of the game. So I don't know. Kelly again didn't get much content. We just knew that she was close with Laura and Monica, basically.
I mean, this is why Shambo is like actually a good player. Like, aside from the fact that she just didn't gel very well with Galu, and sometimes that's just the case, and they end up going pre-merge because of that. But like, the fact that she just makes merge, like, oh, this is another what if. Like, the fact that they just don't like even think about just getting rid of Shambo right now, because you should know at the end of the day that she's gonna flip on you guys' ass. Like, you literally treated her like dirt. So like, you'd think like, let's just get rid of her now, so we don't have to worry about the potential of a flip, because the rest of us are strong. Let's just get rid of the one that we know isn't strong, right? So like, it's funny how it starts to tumble here, where Shambo's like, oh, let's just get rid of Kelly. You guys cool with that? All right, and I'll fake it still. Like, I'll just blend in with them. So it's just funny.
Yeah. I do think if they'd gotten rid of Shambo with the Yasmin vote, I don't think like Yasmin is not going to get along with the Foa Foas. She didn't get along with the Foa Foas, so I think they absolutely made a calculated error.
Slightly confused that they don't get rid of Shambo there, just because of the like, you know what I mean? Like, you keep Yasmin just because she sits around all day. Like, I get it. Like, maybe you guys aren't going to Tribal very often anyway, so why does that matter, I guess, at a point? Like, you guys have all this shit anyway, so let's just get rid of the person we all dislike the most. Like, I don't know. That's their calculated game moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would just like to mention on this Kelly boot, and it's an iconic Survivor moment, and finding idols and playing idols back to back or regularly has become more common, but the look on everyone's face when Russell stands up again, he's just played an idol. The last thing in the world anyone's expecting is for him to stand up. It's an amazing moment, and like Dave's face when all the Russell votes are coming out, and it's like, oh, like this is crazy. It's an amazing moment, and it's so much fun to go back to because it is wild.
You're literally watching people poop themselves. Wow.
Yeah, Monica's like praying that it's not her that gets idled out of the game. Dave's face. Like Dave has some great reactions at tribals. Yeah. So like he's completely stupefied by everything Foa Foa does at this merge. So all right, so Kelly's gone. So now we're gonna get to the final 10. Laura's words are he just stirred up a whole lot of shit is what he did. So
Shambo looks at her like,
yes, I love that. Like Shambo like looks at her as like
he loves it. Her celebrating with Russell back at camp, like he ruined everything, and they're so happy. And Russell's like celebrating his Picasso that he's just put out there. It's going to be worth $1 million. Like I love the fallout from this vote. It's so much fun.
Does he finds another idol, right? Or no?
Yes,
oh, yeah.
This is the one where he gets the clue on the Sprint phone, which is funny how dated that is because they used to do the Sprint like fan favorites and stuff. So they have the Sprint phone with the clue, and it's like under the mossy rock. So he finds his third idol after leading Dave around on a wild goose chase. So.
He never needs it again. Like he only ever needed the one idol, and this one he's still got it. I presume he kept it as a souvenir. So it's like for all people say he relies on idols, there was only actually one vote where it was necessary. The rest of the time, it was his connections that got him through.
That is true. That is true. So yeah, we have that idol find, and then Mick wins the immunity. That's the only thing Mick does all season. But yes, this is going to be an interesting thing to talk about, Austin, and I've talked about it a little bit. This is where we've seen Russell talking to John Fincher about like working together. And so this is where they make the deal that if John flips on Galu, that Russell will vote off of Foa Foa next, which again, I don't know why John legitimately believes Russell will give up a Foa Foa. Like it just won't make any sense for him to do that. So John, and you get a confessional from John Fincher being like, criticizing his tribe, being like, the analytical skills of the Galu tribe, they're all idiots.
Yeah. I mean, this is where the season falls apart like completely for Galu, because this is just, I've always said, I know people are scared of rocks, but if you're in a position where you were going to be picked off, and I don't know if maybe it's something where they'd managed to keep Shambo's involvement with them more secret than Galu realized, and they didn't realize that it was going to go straight down the line, but I'd much rather take the risk, take the rock, maybe then get the game back on track, because you're going to be voted out anyway. Who cares if it's by a rock or by a vote? This was a chance for them to maybe get control back.
This was their last chance. Like they needed to just all be like, okay, let's just let rocks decide because we are going to just get picked off one by one if not. So let's just see what happens. And obviously they don't because of one guy.
Yeah, John absolutely should have forced rocks. I do think the rest of Galu doesn't play this well either, though. They keep throwing John's name out there. They're like, John, we think you're going to be okay with this. We're going to throw your name out there. So I understand like hearing your name, you're not going to be happy about that regardless. But again, for this vote, obviously John should have forced rocks considering everybody's going to turn on him the next round besides Shambo. So yeah. So Laura's going to go home. So Shambo slays the venomous Medusa, her rival. And so now we get John Fincher getting voted out. The auction happens. We do get John Fincher trying to spend a hunch on pie, and then he's like, "Is anybody stoked on pie? Nobody's gonna vote me out because they didn't get any pie."
He risked it all for that pie. He also buys a clue for an idol that's already been found, which is just heinous behavior from Jeff to make that one of the things you can buy. On this episode, before we get to obviously the John vote out as well, I just think it's a really creative edit they do, which is so bizarre where Shambo has this dream that there's chickens in her mind, and then so now Dave needs to be voted out. And I do like that Russell is like, Shambo has these crazy dreams. Okay, Shambo, we'll do what you want. As long as it's not one of my people, you go ahead.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. Also, I think it's like a line that gets edited into like the finale recap. But my favorite line is they leave in there like Shambo talking to the chickens, and then you get Danger Dave Ball in a confessional being like, "Did your mama drop you on your head?"
They've had good ones, man. Like I swear to God.
Yeah, the Shambo dream is so odd and bizarre to edit that into the show, but like her clairvoyant dream. So, yeah, so basically then Jaison wins his first immunity of 2, and we are, after he gets the advantage, so it's holding the knot up, and basically Shambo thinks it's going to be Dave, John thinks it's going to be Mick, and basically Russell tells him about the idol and in confessional. I thought this was funny of like, Russell's like, well, I accidentally told John about my idol, so I have to get rid of John.
He was like, it's my mistake, but sorry, John, you got to go. I do like Jaison. This is a good moment of his game where he really does recognize, you know, we're doing exactly to Shambo what her tribe did to Shambo, and leaving her out and not valuing her, which is such a correct read. But we're going to say that Russell is able to so quickly get Shambo back on side. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, something I will give Russell credit for is being able to play Shambo really, really well and keep that relationship intact. So I will give Russell credit for managing Shambo and John Fincher's jury votes, but it just, otherwise his jury management is not great. But all right, so John is gonna go. Basically at this point, I mean, Galu is gonna start getting picked off completely, but we do get the last hope for Galu, which is Brett. He's not Mike Tyson, he's just Brett. Starts winning immunities at the final 7 here. Did you guys like were you guys wondering why, like, who Brett was at this point, and then all of a sudden like seeing him start winning immunities? Like, what was your guys' reaction?
Yeah, I mean,
NBC Brett.
Yeah. Who?
Yeah, who? Yeah, it is crazy. These last like 3 episodes, like all of a sudden Brett almost gets fan favorite because of these last 3 episodes.
You'd think that, you know, he is important to, he is Galu's last hope, like you say, and you'd think they know that going into the edits, so surely you give him something. I find it bizarre that they really give him nothing. So yeah, I don't really have any opinions on him. He seems like a good kid, but like I do think this is where Russell's game falls apart, because he's so, and he's right, completely right, that they need to get rid of Brett. He would sweep the jury. The jury is literally all Galu, and everyone likes him. But I think it blinds him to, you know, the other threats that are building up around him. And I think what unspoken about a lot in Russell's game is, I think towards the end of the game he starts to get bored. I think Russell, it's too easy for him, so he's starting to tell lies that are unnecessary. He starts to make deals with people that he has no intention on following through with, that he doesn't need to make. He's making deals with Dave, giving Dave hope, and then Dave's gonna go. He makes deals with John and then gets rid of him. He even makes deals with Brett right at the end in like a last minute play, just in case. Like, I get it, just in case Brett does win immunity, Russell just wants to make sure he gets there. But he does start to make these plans just because he's bored and he wants to keep playing the game as hard as he has been. But it's giving people that hope and then taking it away when he doesn't need to do that. He can just say, he knows he has the idol. He knows no one else has it, so he doesn't have to worry about idols. He can just say, look, I'm sorry, we're going down the line at you tonight.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Bizarre, like why he makes a final 2 deal with Brett. I think he even does it when he wins the final immunity that we'll get to. He literally tells Brett, yeah, I might force fire making with you tonight. It's like, why do you need to tell Brett this? Like, this makes no sense from a jury management perspective. So but other things, I mean, Monica Padilla, she goes out like trying to instigate more chaos. This is like her one moment that I think, and her being in a bikini, I think is really the things that made her come back for second chance. But like, I don't know. I just like, it is funny like watching her like instigate fight with Russell, and then just being like at tribal, like how funny it is to watch Russell squirm. I don't know. I think it did endear her a little bit to people, but I mean, she didn't really do too much else otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, Russell's been in complete control for so long. She's the only one that really gets under his skin and starts to, you know, mess with him. I think if you're gonna go out, like, screw it. Yeah, she goes out in great fashion and just leaves everything out that she has to say before she leaves. So yeah, I really like her final episode. I think she does a good job of rattling the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, basically, I mean, Brett wins immunity to sacrifice Shambo. Jaison ends up going. Let's just fast forward to this finale. So we get the iconic Mike. He's no Mike Tyson. He's Brett line, as we mentioned. And then we get the final immunity, and it's holding up the statue on like the pole. We're gonna see this in later seasons, but Russell does beat out Brett. And so Brett is now going to go. We also see Mick being paranoid. Like, this is another mark against Mick, is like he gets paranoid for no reason when like it's very obvious. Like, I understand like Russell's going around and telling everybody like final two or whatever. So I get like why it would make you paranoid, but it's just like at this point Mick has to know like they have to get rid of Brett. So like he shouldn't necessarily feel super nervous as he is.
I think the one big point with Mick, and I'll just rewind it an episode or two back. Yeah. Like this is where, in my opinion, Mick loses. He needs to realize that he's probably losing to the two people that end up taking him to the end, just based off the fact that he hasn't done shit. So he almost needs to kind of switch it up a bit, even with Brett being there. Like maybe try to instigate a Natalie or a Russell blindside, but yeah. He's so gung-ho. Obviously, the reason why he's all anxietied up at the end is because he felt that he's very safe with Russell and Natalie, and now it could, get ripped away just because, for no reason. So at the end of the day, like, Mick needed to switch it up a little bit, and I think it starts to paranoid him here, where he's like, fuck, I really should have, like, done something with Jaison or something, like, a little earlier, because now I could lose. Like, I think that's where he's getting to.
Mm-hmm. This is where kind of going back to the blindness of Brett, of desperately trying to get this guy. Final six is where Russell should have made the move on Natalie. He mentions, Russell has a good eye for when people are connecting. He notices that Brett and Natalie are getting close in their weird little religious experience with the coconuts. Let God guide your hand, and then God decides to let 86 coconuts fall. I not religious guy, but if there is a God, I don't imagine that he's that invested in reward challenges of Survivor. I'm sure he has bigger things on his mind.
Of counting coconuts.
He just thinks she's so stupid and blonde or whatever the hell he's thinking at this point. That why do you not keep Jaison, who hasn't done shit?
Yeah.
And you bring Natalie, who's been connecting with this entire tribe. Like, I mean? Like, he's just so blind to it. Like, I just don't get it.
Because he thinks she's a dumbass girl, and he should really be. I think at the reunion, like, they do mention Russell probably wins against Shambo and Jaison. Obviously, reunion votes can be heavily influenced at that point. But I do genuinely think Russell probably beats Jaison and Shambo. I do think that.
Yeah.
So,
they go on a reward where it's the three of them, and that was the tipping point for his game. If he takes out Natalie and Mick at those two votes where he's not blinded against Brett, and then he clearly wins that challenge. One thing I will mention, because Russell talked about it on an interview with Will Neff, a Twitch streamer, that they had to do that challenge twice, and he was so locked in, he actually beat Brett twice in that final immunity.
Wow.
And I've not heard anyone from the cast deny that, so I know we can't trust Russell on his word about everything, but they both dropped. Brett dropped first, and Russell thinks he's won, and Jeff's like, no, we have to redo, we didn't get it or something. So he ended up doing that brutal immunity, like endurance twice. So he was locked in to beat Brett.
Yeah, that's insane that they had to redo that. I know we'll talk in Second Chance that had to be redone there as well, that final challenge. So it's happened before, or happens after this as well. So I don't know, like, that is insane, because I would hate it if like the producers like didn't catch something, so they made you redo everything and then you lose, when that does happen to Kelly Wentworth. So so Brett does get voted out. Brett Klauser would have been the second perfect game after JT if he would have won out and made it to the end, because the entire jury was voting for him. I did want to mention him and Brett and Laura Moret supposedly knew each other coming into the season.
Oh.
And I guess they had met somewhere. I don't know that they knew each other particularly well, but they had a connection because they had seen each other at least. So,
Well, I'll make a point because I have the cast up. I see a lot of California, Los Angeles people, so that
yeah,
makes sense to me. Like,
right.
probably half the fucking cast is literally Los Angeles, California. So like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, so we do get to the final day. I did want to mention Russell starts being super arrogant here to Mick and Natalie, is basically telling them how the final tribal is going to go, that he's going to win. Mick and Natalie are like, congratulations, Russell, you won $1 million.
Yay! Good game.
It's so ridiculous. Like, why would you go in and like start just being super arrogant to both of them? Like, it's just, I know they're not the jury, but also just like, I don't know. Again, this must be how Russell is. So
I guess maybe like a Twyla thing of try to like break the like affect their confidence going in. Like I guess there's a strategy in that, but yeah.
Probably trying to demoralize them going in. Yeah.
yeah, probably. Let's get to final tribal. The two major things of note, Shambo calls Mick feckless, and she also says, Natalie, I have a word for you, starts with a C, and Natalie's like, I'll let you finish that. I honestly thought as well, first watch, that Shambo was going to call Natalie something else. So, besides Coattail Rider. So that happens, and then let's get to Austin's boy, Eric Cardona, and his speech. So, basically saying, delusional entitlement, arrogance, like, why should those be rewarded over and your gameplay admonished? And Natalie, I hope you get 4 more votes because I'm voting for you. So, thoughts on this speech and how it affected things?
Personally, I think it's not a single juror's place to try and sway the rest, but I will say I think Survivor jurors should be sequestered. I think each individual juror has their own vote, and it shouldn't be a group decision or a group think kind of thing. Like have them separated, and they can come in and listen to the finalists. The finalists are the people still in the game. They're the people that get a pitch to why they should win. Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, as much as I like Eric, I'm not like 100% like, woo, great speech, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I do kind of agree with what Mike's getting at. Like, one person shouldn't just sway an entire jury, which I guess it kind of is funny that they're all so persuaded by Eric, like here. Because, I mean, I kind of understand what he's saying. Like, these two are just absolute jerk offs. Like, why are we going to vote for them? But, everyone kind of just watching going, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny to me because, you guys got rid of him because he was trying to be persuasive and y'all are like, fuck you. But now, he's here persuading you all as losers and y'all like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. You're right, Eric.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people were already honestly leaning that way. So I did hear supposedly they were going to vote for Mick going in actually over Natalie and Russell, but then Mick lost Final Tribal so bad, or he performed so badly that they all switched. So I've heard that story, but I don't know how completely true that is, or if Eric did sway anybody. So
yeah, I mean, I can see it personally. I mean, because Natalie, at least the edit obviously doesn't show too much of her, amazing great gameplays throughout the season. So
right.
I mean, the very little movement she did, I can see why they would still, pick Mick over her and obviously over Russell because he's just such a troll all season. But Brett even says something to him that starts to get me thinking, my first time watching, I was like, oh yeah, Mick doesn't give a shit about any of these people, and I can see it
right.
now, because Brett's like, what would we do on a bro day, bro? Like, what's up? And Mick's says some basic ass line, and I'm just like, yeah, you got to sit with this kid for how many days in Merge and didn't get to know a single thing about him,
right.
Just be like, we'll make t-shirts together or some shit, and you probably get a boost from Brett, you know what I mean? But
right.
Yeah, Mick just lost that point right at that merge or at that final tribal for me. I'm just like, yeah, he has no chance if he's not relating to anyone.
Yeah, for sure. So we do get to the finale. So supposedly at this point, Russell's filmed Heroes versus Villains back to back. He had gone into that thinking that he had won. Supposedly shortly before like the finale night, Shambo had talked to Russell supposedly and told him, "Hey, you don't think you actually won, do you?" And so like Russell's emotion at that finale, you can tell he's like ready to cry even before the votes are read. Like he found out he lost, and like so Natalie wins 7-2-0. We are going to get Russell trying to bribe Natalie White to give him like the title of Sole Survivor.
That's so funny.
So
I mean, I get it. Like, you just played a really good game of like strategy, but your one flaw, it was you just didn't socially work, the jury that you created. Like, and he didn't expect it, obviously, to Natalie, where she's just sitting there winning when you really could have gotten rid of her at like 6 and 5. So like that's the big blunder of his game. Like, why couldn't you just get that big cloud out of your head and just been like, oh, Natalie's in with the Galus, like, because she's been working her social game. Like, could have just gotten rid of her and you would have been fine.
Yeah.
I will say this is where it kind of frustrates me with Survivor in terms of what it takes to be a winner, and everyone always just talks about the social game when the aim of the game that they plaster on every single poster is outwit, outplay, outlast. That's
Right.
one component of it. And for some reason, some jurors, the social game is literally all that is considered. Someone's a more, strategic based and more gameplay based. But to me, the jury should be looking at all three as equal parts of the game. And I don't like seasons where it's just who was the nicest, because it just makes it a popularity contest. And
Right.
I think Survivor's more interesting than that. Like, the strategic element, the physical element are also parts of the game that should be considered. And I don't know.
Yeah, I see where everybody thinks of like Russell probably could have or should have won Samoa at least. Heroes versus Villains, I don't think so at all, but we'll get there next
But yeah,
week.
I agree. Yeah, probably should have. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think like Russell, I can see what the jury thinks because I'm not a Russell fan. I do think his social game is not very good. I don't like how he whines about it still to this day, or at least until like a few years ago. I think like recently he's finally, well, supposedly he's like finally started to like stop whining about losing Samoa. But like I just don't really see Russell as like the best player of all time. I think Boston Rob says it next season. He plays like strategically to get to the end, but he doesn't play to win. But I do see the argument of like he played this game so crazy strategically, still got to the end, and he should get some credit for that. Because he played the way a lot of other people have since, especially, and a lot of other people, that strategy doesn't work for too many other people besides Tony, really. So,
and would Natalie and Mick have made it to Final 3 without Russell? I really don't think so. And
I don't think so.
That's the other tricky thing. Like, Russell was in a position where he had to play as aggressively as he did to get himself out of the situation that he was in at Merge. Someone had to pick up the reins and do that. Russell was the guy that did it, and then he's the guy that gets punished for it at the end. And they all wrote the names down. Every vote, the 4 4 4 people, they wrote those names down and got those people out. It wasn't just like these two are the innocent ones and Russell's the devil. Like, they're all equally responsible in that regard.
True.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's how you build that jury. And I mean, I don't like it when it's a popularity contest because, like, I watch players who are like maybe strictly challenge based and like aren't the best social players, and they just get wrote off because they're so ass. But like, I mean, why even have challenges and all these things then if that's not even a component of the game? You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I agree with the point. Like, it just comes back to the point of a jury is going to think how they want. Unfortunately, this season's jury was more like, oh, we're bitter as fuck. We don't like the fact that you played this game, so we're not even going to consider you. Like, it just comes to that point, and maybe Russell should have been a little more, sightful of that at like Final 6 and been like, okay, I can't take Natalie anymore because she's probably very in with this crew, whereas like Jaison and Shambo are like not at all. So Like, it gets to that point, unfortunately, and maybe that was Russell's biggest flaw in the game was that.
Agreed. Okay, let's hit our rankings now. So I'll just go through them and we'll do our top 10 and then I'll just say where they stand. So react if you have any reactions. All right, the top 10 first boots. We have Tina Wesson All-Stars, Sonia Borneo, Johnny Fairplay, Micronesia, Chicken Dam from China, number 4, number 5, Wanda, number 6, Debbie in her rock shelter, number 7, Diane from Africa, number 8, Peter Harkiness Holes from Marquesas, Timbertina from Panama, 9, and Pastor John Raymond at 10. Marisa, she ended up at, she is the new number 6. She is below Wanda, above Deb. So, I mean, she did, I think Marisa had game to her. Obviously, she threatened Russell, and that's why she went. But I do think in any other seasons, like, I think Russell even talked about, like, in the season, he was really scared of Marisa. So, like, I think in other seasons, she could have been a pretty decent player. She could have been just as villainous as Russell if she got the chance.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think she replaces, like, Ashley if she just doesn't open her mouth to Russell right off the bat.
Right.
So, I mean, I get the credit she gets. Like, does she make merge with this tribe? Probably not. Like, I guess if she never opened her mouth, maybe she takes Natalie's spot with Russell. And again, it's another what if. But I mean, at the end of the day, who knows? Like,
yeah,
I've done it again at the next round. Like, just said something or
right.
She seemed a little too yappy, so Russell clocked it immediately.
Yeah. All right, Fallen Angels. The top 10 Fallen Angels here. We have Sari Fields, number 1, Rob Cesternino, 2, Kathy Vavrick O'Brien, 3, Rudy, 4, Yowman, 5, Lex, 6, Terry Dietz, 7, Ian Rosenberger, 8, Johnny Fairplay, 9, and Rafe, number 10. Brett Klauser, he is the new number 14. He did not crack the top 10. He is below Maddie Whitmore from Gabon and above Scout from Vanuatu. So...
NPC Brett.
CGI Brett. Yes, CGI'd into the season. So
I'm very curious about where the losing finalist is going to be. That's the one I'm holding out for. Sorry to just move past Brett, but
yeah, we'll just move past Brett. It's fine. Let's get to the losing finalists. Our top 10, as they stand right now, it is Boston Rob All-Stars, Stephen Fishback, Token Teens, Ozzy, Cook Islands, Colby, Australia, Amanda Micronesia, Kelly Wigglesworth, Borneo, Stephanie LaGrossa, Guatemala, Amanda China, Courtney Yates, China, and Aaliyah Marquesas. That is the top 10. Mick did not crack the top 10. He is number 20 out of 20.
No, really?
What?
He should have been number 1.
Feckless Mick. Yeah, he's above Matthew from Amazon, below Cassandra from Fiji. But we want to talk about Russell Hantz. Russell Hantz is the new number 2. He is right under Boston Rob. So Russell did get the credit that I think a lot of people want to give him. Some people probably didn't want to give him that credit, but happy to see Russell this high. I did put him as like my number 10. I don't like the guy, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. So
I think he's deserving of that. Like he dominated the game strategically, and I think he at least deserves credit for what he did in terms of getting 4-4 where they got, because they wouldn't have got there without him. So right. Yeah, and it's funny that it's like him and Boston Rob 1 and 2, where it's like both kind of the same player in those seasons of really pushing things strategically, but getting kind of burnt for it by the end. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I like where he's at. I mean,
yeah,
I have no comment really. He deserves to be one of the best, runner-ups of just this season. The next season, whatever. But I mean, I'll always be like, wow about how he just runs an entire game and just ends up losing it significantly.
Yeah, for sure. Winner rankings, top 10 is Parvati, Micronesia, Todd, China, Yule, Cook Islands, Richard Hatch, Borneo, Sandra, Pearl Islands, Tom Westman, Palau, Earl Cole, Fiji, Chris Doherty, Vanuatu, JT, Token Teens, and Tina, Australia. Natalie White is the worst winner now, so nobody gave Natalie White any love, so I don't think.
I mean, yeah, apart from the Eric move, like, we just don't see anything of her game she just ends up being the more likable one at the end of the Four Fours. So I kind of understand why people are less high on her as a winner, and obviously this is a controversial season for how it shakes out, so that's not really a surprise. But
yeah, it's her and Amber in the bottom two. So far, and I think that's where I have them up to this point. We'll talk about later winners, but
Yeah,
that's funny that the 1 and 2 losing finalists, Russell and Rob, and then the bottom 2 winners, the people they lost to.
you're
That's
right.
actually kind of crazy.
That is funny. All right, season rankings, then we'll get to the last 2 questions, like favorite players and contribution to Survivor history. Seasons, top 10 is Micronesia, Pearl Islands, China, Borneo, Cook Islands, Australian Outback, Tocantins, Marquesas, Amazon, and Gabon. Survivor Samoa is officially 14th on the list. It is below Panama, above All Stars, so it did not crack the top 10. And for me, Samoa is the edit really hurts this season, in my opinion, because they didn't really focus on half the cast or more than half the cast. So, but it still has some fun moments, fun moves.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
a fan of it. It's like the reason I watch Survivor. This one checks more boxes off than a decent amount of them. So I was entertained. They did what they could with the edit, I guess, and just accept it, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Favorite players, male and female. Favorite player. I guess I'm not a Russell fan. I expect to see him on your guys' lists for favorite man, but I am going to go with the CGI man. I'm going with Brett Klauser. Just, I don't know. I'm not, I probably should have this season lower because if I'm picking Brett, but like, I don't know. I just thought it was funny to have a guy come in all of a sudden and be like this big threat to win the season in the story of the season. But then female, I'm going to pick Shambo because it's Shambo, and Shambo is a massive character this season. And I don't think she's like anyone else we've ever had before or since, to be honest. And I know she has declined to come back, but she's a good one-time player at this point.
Not even Danger Dave Ball over NPC Brett. He's just not a factor. I mean, look, like love him or hate him, he's the most divisive player in the history of Survivor and probably always will be. But Russell, in terms of the entertainment of the season, like it's just undeniable. There weren't many big characters on the season like that we saw, and Russell is kind of the main focus of the season, so it has to be him. And yeah, Shambo, in terms of the women, I think is like one of my favorite like non-players. Like I don't think she's strategically all that, but in terms of like a character, maybe like a coach, that kind of archetype of just a fun person to watch on screen. So I love Shambo for the entire season. I wish she'd made it to the end. It would have been interesting.
For sure, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt I picked my guy as Russell. And then, I mean, I go back and forth with Laura and Shambo. I mean, I think Laura's just fucking hilarious with how, like, antsy she can get. Shambo's just, a great personality out there. I mean, I'd probably end up leaning Shambo also as my favorite female. But, yeah, I guess there's not a lot of people to choose from.
Yeah, true. All right. So last question. How did this season contribute to the evolution of Survivor? For me, I think this contributes because we get Russell, contributing to like being the villain of Survivor. Like he defined an era of reality TV. I mean, him and his family show up on reality TV for the next like 5 years, for better or for worse. And then obviously idols, like that's redefined because Russell finds them without clues, and like how you can play them and use them even without playing them, and then just being able to what's the wording I'm trying to figure out? Oh, a deficit, like a tribe overcoming a deficit. Tocantins had it too, but this is to an even larger degree of what happens to Galu. So I think that's what I'm going to go with for contribution to the evolution of the game. Russell changed Survivor completely.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Samoa, and there's people out there that are like, I hate this season, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the season honestly turns a lot of things over into new perception. Like this is a great example of how to not work like how someone can't work a jury correctly. Like people watch the season and should take notes on like maybe I won't be such an asshole to people I send home, or like, oh, you can actually find idols like without clues. Like just go look. Like there's a lot of things where it changes up. It can change up people's strategies moving forward. Like sometimes the person you think isn't going to win the whole thing that you drag to the end can win. Like you just never know. So
yeah. Michael.
Yeah, this is like the Thanos of Survivor being introduced. This is like the Infinity War and then season 20's end game.
Yes.
It's like we have this. I mean, Russell doesn't win, but we have the introduction of him where everything goes his way, and then heroes versus villains. He comes in as the biggest villain that Survivor has ever seen. So yeah, I think when you look back at Samoa, it's impossible not to just think of it as the Russell season, because that's what it is. He's like 80% of the entire edit. That's the legacy of this season.
Yeah. He got people back into Survivor. This really brought people back, I feel like, for the first time in a while, actually. So, because everybody wanted to know what Russell was doing. All right, that's Survivor Samoa, and you know what that means. Next week we finally get heroes versus villains, the big Infinity War Endgame culmination. So excited to talk about it. Kevin, Shane, and I will get to talk about the biggest war, the most iconic players. So we're very excited. We also got a what if with another one of the heroes versus villains cast members. For those wondering, it's Danielle DiLorenzo, Nath. So we got to talk to Danielle, and so that's going to be super exciting. That'll come out a few days before. So check that out. Subscribe, like, share, comment, as we said, and we'll be back next week for Heroes versus Villains on the Tribe of Nerds.